Now it's time for our favorite segment, Asshat of the Week. So Nathan, who is our asshat this week?
Michael, our asshat this week is one of my favorite Canadians.
Really?
It's, I don't even know what his title is anymore. I guess psychologist, professor, political activist, whatever. Jordan Peterson.
Ooh.
Jordan P, come on down.
Has he been like a D-bag or or an asshat before?
I feel like we've neglected our jobs if he hasn't.
Yeah, if not, we've really been off our game. Okay, what did Jordan Peterson do to get on our show?
And I actually, we debated as to whether or not we should make this an asshat or a D-bag. But in order for there to be a D-bag, you have to make an argument that actually has some logic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in order for it to have logic that defeats itself.
That defeats itself. Yeah. This was just fucking nonsense. So he was talking about how the gays actually have an enemy in trans people. That trans people are their real enemies. So he said, quote, and this is a long quote, so bear with me. Part of the reason they were bodily dysmorphic when they were very young, talking about so-called trans children, is because they were homosexual. And there was tension between their emerging sexual proclivity and their biological reality, at least in contrast to what is normative. 80% of them will grow up to be gay. And it's not surprising, really, is it, that hyper-feminine little boys who are that way by temperament are going to grow up to be homosexual. And on the other side, the female front, the hypermasculine girls are going to grow up butchy and more likely to be attracted to girls. I don't think that's a real surprise to anyone. But the fact that it's 80% is quite the statistic. And what that means is that 80% of the kids who are being transformed surgically are actually gay. So I don't know where he got that statistic, but I'm assuming that statistic came from some place that is very dark and covered in shit. Because if you've actually read the statistics on the rate of regret for people who have gender affirming surgery, it's like 1%. Mm-hmm. It's like less than knee replacement surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, so his argument is that trans people are not actually trans, they're actually gay.
Mm-hmm.
But it continues.
And not just that, and that you can tell gay kids when they're kids because
which I just like to point out, I know that there are plenty of,
according to my own gaydar, 80% of kids that I show as gay as trans are actually just gay. My gaydar.
Yeah. That is such a good impression.
Isn't that pretty good? I just did that. That's the first time I've ever done that.
I don't know if I can do an impression, but the funny thing, the funny thing here is I mean. There's definitely a stereotype that that gay men are more flamboyant, and plenty of them are, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But I've met some gay dudes that were the epitome of masculinity.
Absolutely.
Butchy, deep voice, huge bulgy muscles. Mm-hmm. Dude who could probably put my head in their armpit and just crack it like a walnut.
Absolutely. There is a spectrum of presentations across sexual orientation, just like there is across so many other things. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, he continues, quote, "And so if there's a genocide, so to speak, and there isn't, but if there's a case of mass abuse of the gay community, the most egregious examples of that mass abuse is occurring at the hands of the trans activists, not the heterosexual monogamists. I think the gay community was a hell of a lot better when they were oppressed by the heterosexual monogamists than when they're allied with the trans community."
That is
with the trans
amazing.
Activists.
That is so fucking horrible.
God.
That is so bad.
Oh my God.
Okay,
they were better off
quickly
oppressed by the what?
Let's just focus on the quick implication. The implication that these kids, if not for trans activists turning them trans, would be gay instead.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid. That's not what trans activists do.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but unlike straight activists, gay activists, trans activists, it's not a numbers game for them.
Yeah.
They're not trying to collect as many trans people and gay people as humanly possible.
Totally.
They just want the people who are gay and are trans to be accepted for being gay or trans.
That is...
It's not a numbers game.
Exactly. It only matters to you personally if there are more gay people or trans people if you are bigoted.
Yeah.
And there are bigoted, there are bigoted gay people, there are bigoted trans people, there are bigoted cis people for sure. But like, if your argument is gay people should hate trans people, and if they don't, that means that there are going to be fewer gay people, and that's a problem for gay people. It's like, well, first of all, it's a terrible factual claim, and secondly, like, it relies on its premise. It's predicated on the problem with the other identity community. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, ask any gay person, hey, what do you like better? Heterosexuals who are trying to prevent you from getting married, or trans people who exist? Most likely, they're going to say, probably the trans person. Like, actual activists are not going, they are not going to view that as oppression. Mm-hmm. And I'd also like to point this out. So this is a narrative that a lot of people have been trying to make in order to drive a wedge between the gay community and the trans community. Yeah. Because, the idea is that the reason why the LGBT community has the T in it, meaning has gender expression as opposed to just sexual orientation, is because they were trying to ally with each other. And there's a narrative that's being pushed to drive a wedge between the LGB and the Ts, by saying that trans people are just trying to piggyback off of all the progress that the gay community made. But here's the problem with that. This is actually something that a trans friend of mine recently pointed out to me. When did the modern day gay rights community begin? It began at Stonewall. You know who started the Stonewall riots? Trans women. So by that logic, understanding that, trans people aren't piggybacking off of gay people. Gay people are piggybacking off of trans people. So how about we just say, instead of trying to drive a wedge, saying you're piggybacking off of you or you're stealing whatever's thunder, how about we just say, hey, let's all just fight for equality, because that's what we want. Exactly. So a deep and hearty congratulations to Jordan Peterson for being our Asshat of the week.